Hurricane Hermine has made landfall near St. Marks, Florida as a Category 1 hurricane. Good early morning to you. I'm Mike Nasel with the latest on Hurricane Hermine. It's about 2 in the morning and it's made its landfall. Let's take a look at the latest stats on the hurricane at this time as of 2 a.m. Eastern Time. The eye of Hurricane Hermine was inland. It was at 30.2 north, 84.0 west. Winds still 80 miles per hour, gusting upwards of 100. So it's a solid Category 1 hurricane. Certainly not a major hurricane, but still a hurricane. It's moving north-northeast at around 13 miles an hour, and that minimum central pressure, 982 millibars. That was reported by the Air Force right as it was coming ashore. So that's a pretty good idea of a landfall pressure, 982. That's a solid Category 1 hurricane landfall pressure. You can see the track here later on this morning over Georgia, and then by tonight over South Carolina, and then by Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, it should be over the Outer Banks of North Carolina and still be a tropical storm. But here's the deal. Between Saturday morning and Monday morning, it doesn't move. It doesn't move in this entire region because it's going to be interacting with a trough that's come down, and it looks like it's going to get hung up as either a tropical storm or some sort of extratropical low-pressure center. I know it gets very confusing when these systems are no longer quote-unquote tropical, but they could still cause similar conditions, high surf, heavy rain. If you're in this area of New England or the Mid-Atlantic, you want to keep an eye on it. But again, Labor Day weekend's pretty much rained out all the way up the eastern seaboard as Hurricane Hermine continues its reign. No pun intended. Here's the watches of warnings. Again, the threat of tornadoes right over the Georgia and North Florida coastline. Anytime we have a landfalling tropical cyclone, there's always a risk of tornadoes, and we have those tornado watches out. And of course, the hurricane warnings with hurricane conditions presently, as of the time of this video, about 2 in the morning, ongoing in the state of Florida on the coastline there of the Big Bend area. Now, when we look at the radar imagery of Hurricane Hermine, you can see it's come ashore, obviously. The eye is over the area of St. Marks, Florida. In fact, I'm going to zoom in here, and we're going to go in-depth. You can see Tallahassee has been pounded for several hours here with the northern and northwestern eye wall, and there were even some reports of some radar issues out of there, which indicate some strong winds. You can see the onshore flow here pushing right through these areas, Gainesville, Lake City, Jasper, up into Valdosta in Georgia. You're getting slammed with some very heavy rainfall as the hurricane pushes ashore. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to zoom in a little more to show you right where it appears it made landfall. You can see just to the east of St. Marks, Florida. That's where the Hurricane Center said. And you're talking about the areas there of Wakulla, Newport, St. Marks, right there in the Big Bend, Perry, getting slammed at this hour. The eye is not extremely well defined, but there could be a little bit of calmness in certain parts of it as it continues to move towards the north-northeast. Monticello, Quitman, and Valdosta, you appear to be next in its path. Unless the hurricane ends up sliding a bit quicker to the east, then you might not have it directly hitting you. But nonetheless, the heavy rainfall and the impacts we are seeing from Hermine are taking place in Florida at this point in time, and the rainfall again continuing all the way up through the Georgia coastline. You can see the wind field as the hurricane has made landfall. The hurricane force winds are now onshore. This is the first hurricane to make landfall in the United States since Hurricane Arthur hit the Outer Banks 4th of July 2014. So it's been over 2 years, and this is the first hurricane to hit the state of Florida since Wilma back in October 2005. I had to scratch my head on that one. I didn't think it had been quite that long, but it had been. And for Florida, that is a long time. Florida gets hit very often. To go 11 years, you guys lucked out. But nonetheless, you're not lucking out tonight, as Hurricane Hermine has made landfall, and those winds are going to continue to spread inland. You can see how the system grew in size as it approached the Florida coastline. And if you get wet trees and kind of wet ground, you risk falling trees, down power lines, and all the impacts that come with a Category 1 hurricane. And once again, this hurricane hit in a pretty rare area for hurricanes. There are 3 areas along the U.S. coast which don't see a lot of hurricane landfalls. One area is the Georgia coastline, because hurricanes are either coming into Florida hitting Florida and turning north. It's very rare that you actually get one slamming into Georgia, but it can happen. Another area is just to the south of there in the Jacksonville, northeast Florida region, and then the Big Bend. And Hurricane Alma, 1966, 50 years ago, was the last time they got this big of a slamming right near the area of St. Marks, Florida. And that's why this area is susceptible to storm surge. Might not be as prepared as if they had been hit year after year after year. A lot of residents might not be familiar with the power of the hurricane in the Big Bend region. And again, a very well organized CDO, a central dense overcast, bursting right as it made landfall there, right over North Florida and Tallahassee. As mentioned, they're getting the northwest eye wall as all this flow continues in the southeastern areas of the United States at this time. When we look at the entire Gulf of Mexico, you can see Hurricane Hermine. We watched it for so long. We tracked it as it moved through the Atlantic, near Puerto Rico, north of Hispaniola, through the Bahamas, scraped Cuba, finally developed, sputtered in the Gulf for a while, and then took a hard right turn and became a hurricane, Category 1, as it hit Florida. A lot of people thought that that wave was going to be Hurricane Hermine and that it had Florida written all over it, and we were right. The only difference was it was the northwest coast, not the southeast coast, and it was a lot weaker than some of the models showed at first, thankfully, but still a potent Category 1 hurricane right there in the Big Bend area of Florida. So we're going to keep watching it because it's not over yet. The impacts, the very strong water rises, the very high storm surge taking place, 7 feet, 10 feet, maybe higher in some areas, as it's hitting in the middle of the night. We will see what happens come the morning light. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Hurricane Hermine. That's it for this time. I'll talk to you guys later.